Welcome to Drive Time, a show that's for you and about you, because your success is what Gartner is all about. I'm your host, Carson Miller, and I know what you're thinking. What's this guy going to tell me that I don't already know? All right, how about this? What if I could share some pearls of wisdom from your colleagues that could mean more money in your pocket? Certainly worth a few minutes of your time, wouldn't you say? I thought so. After all, that's what Drive Time is all about. In this edition of Drive Time, I'll be sharing some timely news with you, such as maximizing your bonus, closing P-Rev deals, and finding new ideas to close more business. Now, currently, we're headed towards Symposium, and trust me when I say that this isn't any run-of-the-mill vehicle. Oh no, my friend. This baby can go from 0 to $1 billion in 1 year. That's fiscally speaking, of course. And it's also got all kinds of gadgets and gizmos to give us real-time results. We have satellite feeds, G-force, video conferencing, even digital screens that keep us abreast of the competition. Speaking of the other guys, check out this Forrester sales rep on the way to close the deal. Ooh, that's gonna leave a mark. Yep, this puppy is equipped with all the latest technological advances. I just wish they could do something about the size of the remote. Anyway, Drive Time is coming to you from the road because we didn't want you to miss a beat as we head towards our final destination, Cannes, population 73,000 and counting. And I say counting because come Symposium Week, we'll be sending thousands of Gartner's finest clients to take over this fair city. By the way, we are keeping an ongoing count using this baby. It's a digital counter with real-time numbers on our symposium attendance. And it's also our gas gauge. You see, this vehicle runs on your success. Talk about fuel efficiency. Now, speaking of success, I was in Stanford last week and caught up with Leon Shapiro, Senior Vice President of Gartner Community. Leon, of course, had Symposium on his mind, and he had this message for the sales force.
Sales executives should be excited about Gartner's Symposium IT Expo this year because it puts money in their pocket. It's the lifeblood of Gartner. It's where Gartner comes to life. It's where over 350 analysts get together in one place at one event to interact with your prospects and your clients. Last year, we drove in excess of $1 million of new sales as a result of Symposium IT Expo. All of the industry leaders feel it's important to be there. The chairman of Dell, Michael Dell, Steve Ballmer, Carly Fiorina, John Chambers, Scott McNeely, all want to be there. You should want to be there too. There is no other place, there is no other event in the world where Gartner can deliver the value that it delivers at Symposium IT Expo.
Wow, look at those attendance numbers start to soar. I guess you're already taking Leon's advice. Now don't forget, this year we're offering Symposium credit back to drive both attendance and Q4 opportunities. Okay, let's talk briefly about our needs in Q3. Now is the time to be making the additional prospect call, to stop in and see an extra person. And ask your client contact, who else from your organization should I be calling today? Now, why is activity in Q3 so important, you may ask? Well, we all know that September 30th is the end of Gartner's fiscal year, but it's not the end of the sales year. Now, this may be as easy to understand as Einstein's theory of relativity, so let me simplify. We need Q4 intensity in Q3 in order to drive business, achieve our Q3 goals, and prepare for a strong finish to the year. And here's a helpful sales tool to get the job done: Client Renewal Incentive. This is an incentive plan that rewards client loyalty. Clients that renew at 100% or better receive additional products at no additional cost, plus discounts on other products. So let those existing accounts know about it and build those relationships. Now, this incentive has a timetable and it expires at the end of September. This deal is good for any P-Rev contract that expires between now and December 31st. But remember, this business must be renewed by September 30th. Now, incentives are great, but they are no replacement for working smart, especially at this time of year. As I've traveled the world, I've been asking SEs for their advice on working smart. And I put together my own little home movie that I call Tales from the Road. Check this out.
when you're trying to close a deal by a particular deadline, you have to lean back on one of two things. Either the relationship that you have with that client or understanding their business well enough to incent them to do something with you before they otherwise would. I always tried to build relationships with my clients, doing things and being very responsive to them throughout the year so that when I needed something from them, they wanted, frankly, to try to be a part of my success. It was something that fit within their business strategy. There are people, obviously, that aren't going to work that way with you. And in those cases, what you need to do is understand their business and understand what's important to them so that when you need them to do something, you understand what's important that's going to enable you to incent them to move ahead with the project, perhaps before they otherwise would.
About 3 years ago, I approached the CIO within the organization and really pitched EXP as a program. We were very successful with it in Ottawa, had a number of members, and he just was not interested. He knew everything he needed to know. It was more his staff that would be using the research. And, but interestingly enough, he went to symposium every year, and he loved it. And he was very diligent every year. So I sort of moved the conversation over to focusing more on the symposium side, saying, you know, what do you like so much about the symposium? And he loved the networking with some of the CIOs and other organizations around the world. So when I went back and pitched EXP, and we were fairly diligent, I was diligent every year, inviting him to some of our local meetings, sending him key pieces of research. The last symposium he went to, setting up meetings with some of the EXP analysts specifically, and letting him see sort of what the CIO track was like, and that really piqued his interest. And so he just 2 months ago, he signed on board as an EXP member.
In helping clients understand the value, there's really a number of suggestions which I'd make. The most obvious is ask the question. I remember asking to a large services company when I first started in Gartner, what value do you get? And the guy thought about it for a minute and didn't answer and thought about it. And he said, well, I used some of your TCO research, and we use that externally to justify an additional £1 million on a particular deal. So they got some significant value there.
I mean, I think communication with your clients is key, and don't assume that they know exactly what we can do for them. Don't assume that they know everything about us, even though you talk to them on a quarterly basis or monthly basis. Always reiterate the fact that we can help them in many different ways and that we're here to be a partner for them.
Definitely show me you know me message from the kickoff is definitely a key factor to my success, and I've used it in a lot of different ways to get to know my clients better, to get to know the industry better, and to improve my own business acumen in dealing with the clients. And it's really helped to contribute to my success in the way that I pre-call plan, and so when I go into a client and I'm about to tell them and I want to tell them about our offerings, it helps me to map certain things that may be going on in the industry to our offerings, some things in particular to their industry, by looking at press releases, things in particular of particular interest to them personally. And it makes it easier because you can almost use examples, use FUD, and use hypothetical situations with them. And it also helps to establish some trust and some credibility that you really do care about them and that you are really trying to add value to the relationship.
The key to get actually past to middle management is, I think, to get out of your comfort zone. Because I believe that sometimes we believe we can't get hold of these people above that middle management layer, but quite often we don't try it. And if you don't try, you don't know if you succeed.
I couldn't have said it better myself. But remember, one extra deal that you go after now in September could ultimately be the one that enables you to attain your quota. Uh-oh. Looks like our fuel tanks are running low. We're going to need a September push to get back to maximum power. You see, this vehicle runs on renewed business as well as new business. Right now, it looks like we need to put a few more new clients into the tank. Now, we've all been to value selling. So I know you're wondering, Carson, what's in it for me? Well, strap in and buckle up, my friends, because you are in for one wild ride. Gartner has you covered. Let me show you the benefits of growing new business in September. We call it the September Push for Growth. 2 incentives, Power Up and Q3 Growth. The objective is to drive PREV. Bring in PREV, get into accelerators sooner. Bring in PREV, put more money in your pocket. Whoa. I thought you might like that. Whoa, looks like the program is working. Look at that baby hum. Those numbers are really starting to add up. Nice job. Uh-oh, hold everything. It's the DTS. Oh, I'm sorry, it's the Doherty Tracking Sensor. Jim Doherty, that is. He's a tough man to catch up with. Come on, let's get him while we can. Jim, can you read us?
I sure can.
Great. All right then, everybody. Meet Jim Doherty, Gartner's new Senior Vice President of Worldwide Sales. Jim, I am surprised to find you in your office.
Well, you're right. I've been on the road an awful lot for the past few weeks, and I just get in from Fort Myers, and actually tomorrow I'm off to Egham.
So, while we've got you for a second, tell us what it's like to be part of a great company like Gartner.
Well, it feels terrific. I'm honored to be here and be part of this really great organization. It's a thrill.
Can you give us some insight, Jim? Now, you've been in the industry a long time. What do you think is Gartner's biggest advantage?
Well, that's obvious. It's the brand and the reputation in the industry. It's outstanding. And working for a company with that kind of reputation gives us all an opportunity to drive more business. And beyond that, just after a few weeks, it's clear to me that the Gartner sales team is hardworking, determined, and very focused. And there are a lot of good things going on with this team today.
Wow, that's fantastic. So, Jim, you're really racking up those frequent flyer miles. Why have you been on the go so much?
Well, I've spent my first few weeks here traveling because the first thing to do is to learn as much as I can about the people and the businesses that exist today. Therefore, I went out to San Jose, Fort Myers, and as I just said, I'm off to Egham next week.
Okay, Jim, now that we've got you here, give us your insight. It's the end of the quarter. What do you think is the key to having a fantastic September?
Well, focus on a few things only. First, your personal goals. Second, leverage the plans we have in place, like the Q3 bonus and the Power Up, to earn more money, and be as aggressive as you can in asking for help across the entire company.
That's great, Jim. Thanks.
Well, thanks for checking in with me, and I'm looking forward to a great quarter. Thanks for your time.
Jim Doherty, ladies and gentlemen, a man with some key advice. Focus on your personal goals. Well, that's about it. Wait, hang on. No, don't worry. That's just the Gartner Positioning System, or GPS, telling us that we're in your region. All right, now pardon the lockdown, but this is for your eyes only. So let me just link up here. All right, and there we go. And here's your regional GVP with a message for you.
Hey Carson, it's Alistair Christopher here. I'm glad I caught up with you before you left our EMEA region. As you've already said, this September is an incredibly important time in the sales year for us, and more importantly for Gartner as a whole. And I wanted to personally thank my team for the huge contribution this year so far, and in advance for the extra effort everyone will be putting in between now and the end of September. I think Jim Doherty summed it up best when he said the keys to a strong September were to focus on your personal goals, leverage the Power Up and Q3 bonuses to earn lots of money, and to be really aggressive in asking for help from anyone in the business, no matter who it is. I'd like to add a fourth key to success, and that is trust in your instincts. You, above anybody in the business, know your clients and your prospects best, and you know where the real opportunities lie. If you have as much confidence in your abilities as I have faith in you, we will all win bigger than you can ever imagine. My commitment to you is that I will be here to help you in any way I can be more successful than you've ever been before. Most of all, don't forget to have fun closing the fiscal year this September. And as you hear me say many times before, be good. But in fact, be great at what you do best, which is selling. Thanks for the time, Carson, and enjoy the rest of your trip to Symposium.
Well, that's about it for now. I've got a lot of road to cover and you have a lot of money to make. So just remember, use the client renewal incentive to attract existing client renewals and build on your relationships in the third quarter. Secure new business in September to maximize Power Up and the Q3 bonus. And finally, make attendance a priority for your clients. Attendance at the Symposium has proven to be a great sales tool. That's all for this edition of Drive Time. Until next time, keep the drive for 5 alive.